We made it! We're here, we're in Bulgaria. And since we no longer have an apartment in the US, this is basically where we live now. Now, I wish I could say we had a smooth day of travel to get here, but that was not the case. Nope, we made some mistakes and almost missed both our flights. So let's back up a bit and see how we got here. We're about to move to Bulgaria. The day finally arrived and I could not have been more excited. We'd been talking about living abroad for over a year and we even eased into it by living in Canada for a month. But now, the real overseas adventure was about to begin. So we packed our bags, loaded them into the car, and around noon it was time for Lexi's parents to drive us to the airport. Oh, and Mavis joined us too. Look at that Chicago doggy. The ride was pretty surreal knowing that we had no idea when we'd be back here permanently. Look at Nala acting all normal, having no idea how much her life is about to change. We didn't hit much traffic, and we got to O'Hare over 3 hours before our flight. And thank God we did, because we needed almost every minute of that. But more on that later. So, we grabbed our bags and said our goodbyes. Don't worry, Nala, you're coming with us. All right, we just got to the airport, and we're on our way to Sofia. This is where the trouble began. We didn't have Bulgarian visas, which we thought was okay because Americans are allowed to stay in Bulgaria for 90 days without a visa, and our plan was to move to Italy after only a month. Unfortunately, we were kind of playing this by ear, and all we had was a one-way ticket. We hadn't booked a flight to the US yet, and we didn't even have a ticket out of Bulgaria. To further complicate things, when they asked when we were coming back, we said mid-December, which was well past our 90-day limit. Then we had to explain that we're actually going to leave Bulgaria after a month, but we have no idea where we'll be before heading back to the US. This did not compute for them, and it seemed like they weren't going to let us fly, which would have been especially bad for us given that it was July 31st and our US health insurance was expiring at the end of the day. Uh-oh. After doing some frantic Googling on the spot, we realized that they don't really care when we're coming back. They just want to see that we've booked some form of transportation out of Bulgaria within 90 days. I found a bunch of websites that'll sell you a fake plane ticket for 10 or 20 bucks, targeted at people like us with very loose plans. This seemed kind of sketchy, so I ended up just buying a real plane ticket out of Bulgaria that we didn't intend to use. Luckily, any flight to or from the US can be canceled for a full refund within 24 hours, so we were okay as long as we remembered to cancel our flight after we got through passport control. Oh, and if you're watching this from the Bulgarian government, don't worry, we actually do have plans to move to Italy after a month. We just haven't figured out our transportation yet. Once we got that sorted out, they gave us grief about not having a muzzle for Nala. This was never explained in any of the airline's communication with us. And it took a while, but we did find some mention of this on the airline's website, so I don't think they were BSing us. They just could have been much more clear up front. Now, we don't have a muzzle for Nala since she barely even has a mouth to put it on. And after literally over 2 hours at the check-in counter, we finally got someone to approve Nala to fly without a muzzle. By that point, I was so ready to leave this part of the airport. So we went through security, grabbed some quick food to go, and we were on our way to the gate. All right, so even though we got to the airport 3 hours early, we literally got to the gate as they were boarding, and thank God for pre-check, because we probably would have missed our flight without it. By this point, I was starving, so I started eating my airport food right as I sat down. We started moving towards the runway, and I thought our worries were over for the rest of the journey. But Murphy's Law had a different plan for us. The first leg of our flight was to Vienna, and we only had a 70-minute layover before flying to Sofia, so we were counting on an on-time arrival. For some people, a misconnection would have been a slight inconvenience, but traveling with a dog would have made it way more of a pain, especially if we had missed the last flight of the day to Sofia. So we made it towards the runway, and just as we were about to take off, the flight turned around and went back to the gate, and that's when dread set in.
And for security reasons, we are now finding their luggage and controlling this luggage as well.
I didn't catch the whole announcement they made, but there was something about a sick family member that would cause an hour delay as they had to retrieve their bags from the checked baggage. I'm not sure if someone on the plane got sick or if someone got news about a sick family member, and in hindsight, it's great that the airline was able to accommodate this. But at the time, I was just super worried about missing our connecting flight. The plane took off 86 minutes after our scheduled departure, which was longer than our entire layover was supposed to be. This made for quite a stressful journey and a lot of checking the little screen thingy for an ETA during the flight. I had also hoped to see the Chicago skyline one last time, but I was on the left side of the plane, so all I saw was a pond that looks like someone pooping. Wait, isn't that where I went to college? Aside from thinking we were gonna miss our connection, our other big worry was Nala annoying the shit out of everyone on our flight. But luckily, the anxiety drugs we gave her before the flight seemed to do the trick, and she was quiet the entire time. And even if she did start being annoying, she would have been totally upstaged by the crying baby the next seat over. Also, this baby had what appeared to be a much more chill older brother who was just having the time of his life listening to his headphones and eating his snacks. I really wish I was as chill as that kid. I had trouble sleeping, so I spent most of the flight editing a video about Jard, and before I knew it, we were in Vienna. We made up for all our lost time in the air, and by some absolute miracle, our arrival was only 3 minutes late. Wait. Pause. Rewind. This is the Vienna airport, and this is what you see 30 seconds before landing. I'm so used to the area around airports looking like a desolate hellscape, but this is f***ing gorgeous. Go ahead and hit that like button if you agree. Anyway, we landed, and as we were getting off the plane, the TVs told us that our flight was charming. Which, no. Once we got in the airport, we rushed to the next gate, which was pretty far away. Tight connection to our next flight. Let's hope we make it. I wasn't too worried about missing our connection anymore, but still wanted to hurry just to be safe, since we had to walk pretty far to switch terminals. And we got to the gate with just enough time to give Nala a potty break. I made a poopy again. Then it was onto a bus, which took us to a much smaller plane that was headed to Sofia. On this flight, we had another crying baby in our row, and also a crying Nala. We gave her more anxiety meds, but this time they didn't work, and she required constant attention to avoid having her make a scene. Ugh, they gotta stop rubbing this charming thing in my face. The flight could have been a lot worse, and I had all these mountains to keep me company while Lexi slept. Bulgaria, you pretty. After landing in Sofia, we got through passport control really quickly and without any issues. Like, seriously, it was eerie how quickly and smooth things went. It was like the exact opposite experience as what we had leaving the US. So, we left the airport, we got a ride to our apartment from a friend of a friend who lives in Sofia and was super welcoming. And now, the real adventure begins. If you want to see why we came here in the first place, check out this video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel to see the rest of our journey, and I will see you in the next one.